All right, let's just jump right in. Welcome to this explainer on what we call the $70,000 rule, basically, the ultimate middle class wealth blueprint. Look, today we're completely replacing that generic everyday financial panic with precise, unhurried math. We're going to forget the vague advice you usually hear from talking heads. Instead, we're mapping out the actual structural baseline that literally dictates the mechanics of wealth in the United States. And it all centers around this one quiet number that secretly runs the show. $70,000. Now, according to recent Census Bureau data, the median post-tax household income hovers right around $72,330. So in plain terms, the typical American household takes home about 70 grand a year after taxes. But here's the thing, this isn't just some random salary milestone. It's actually a physical fulcrum. It's the real cash that pays your mortgage, buys the groceries, and ultimately decides your entire financial destiny. It determines whether you're genuinely building wealth or if you're just succumbing to lifestyle creep. I mean, the absolute mechanics of your financial life completely flip depending on which side of this $70,000 line you stand. Which brings us to our very first rule, setting a realistic retirement benchmark. You know, conventional wisdom always says you need to replace about 70 to 80% of your pre-retirement income. And the logic there is solid. Commuting costs disappear, heavy retirement contributions vanish. So, for a household earning the median gross income of roughly $83,000, an 80% target is exactly $67,000, meaning our $70,000 rule is actually the perfect, mathematically sound target. Please don't fall for that generic "you need $5 million to retire" narrative. Okay, let's dive into this because one of the most intimidating errors people make in personal finance is the naive application of the 4% rule. Check this out. If you think you need $70,000 a year and divide that by 4%, you get a terrifying target of $1.75 million. But that naive math completely ignores a massive pillar of retirement, Social Security. The average benefit is roughly $25,000 a year per qualifying earner. So for a single earner, that drops your gap to $45,000, requiring a $1.125 million portfolio. And for dual earners, well, guaranteed income hits $50,000. Your gap shrinks to just $20,000, which drops your required portfolio to a highly manageable $500,000. Just by paying into the system, your target practically drops by over $1 million. So, once you really understand that baseline, your next step is figuring out exactly where you currently sit. We call this the $70,000 income pivot. Simply put, you literally cannot pull the correct financial levers if you don't even know which side of the fulcrum you're standing on. As we weigh these two paths, we're basically looking at two entirely different strategies. Let's say your household brings home less than $70,000 after taxes. Your primary financial lever? It's income growth. It's not extreme frugality. It's not obsessively optimizing pennies. Your savings capacity is just too small right now. But if you're above that $70,000 line, the math completely flips. You now possess a meaningful surplus capacity. And at that point, your savings rate is what absolutely dictates your future. So if you're below the threshold, let's talk about how to play the game. Look, after paying for housing, transportation, and food, your savings capacity might only be, say, $200 to $800 a month. Shaving 0.5% off an index fund expense ratio, that's not going to change your life here. But increasing your salary absolutely will. The data shows that switching jobs typically yields a 5 to 10% wage premium. So stop worrying about clipping coupons. Focus your energy on certifications, getting promotions, or making strategic job changes. Just 2 job changes that result in an $8,000 annual bump, fully invested over 25 years, that creates an additional $200,000 in wealth. But what's truly fascinating is what happens the exact moment you cross that line. Once you're above $70,000, the income engine is already running. The only real question is how much fuel you route to wealth versus lifestyle. Take a household making $90,000 gross. If they save 10%, they invest $9 grand a year. Over 25 years, at a 7% real return, that grows to roughly $568,000. But if that same household simply doubles their savings rate to 20%, they invest $18,000 a year, and that yields over $1.13 million. Above the line, your savings rate is king. Now, there is a trap here, and we need to talk about it. Earning $70,000 post-tax doesn't actually mean you have 70 grand to spend on your lifestyle. When we break down the fixed structural costs of survival, you start to see the illusion that traps millions of people in a cycle of stress. Housing takes up about 30% of your gross, transportation, 15%, food, 12%, insurance and basic fixed costs, another 9%. That's a huge chunk of the pie being eaten before you even sit down at the table. So by the time you pay for sheer survival, your actual discretionary budget, the money for vacations, hobbies, restaurants, and extra investing, is likely only $20,000 to $25,000 a year. You have to acknowledge this gap. You must build your life around this tiny sliver of actual discretionary capacity, not your big headline income. Because if you base your lifestyle on the big number rather than the small sliver, you're always going to feel like you're falling behind. And this brilliantly illustrates the game of momentum. Crossing your first $70,000 in investments is a massive psychological grind. At a 7% return, it only generates about $4,900 a year in growth. It feels incredibly slow because your raw, hard-earned contributions are doing all the heavy lifting. But look at this exponential growth. The journey to the second 70,000 takes 20 to 30% less time. By the time you reach your 10th 70,000, meaning a $700,000 portfolio, your investments are generating nearly $49,000 a year in passive growth. The math is literally replacing a full-time salary. You just have to stay the course. But to actually let that compounding work, you have to avoid the cash hoarding trap. A lot of people mistakenly believe they need massive emergency funds, sometimes equal to a full year's salary. Listen, a standard 3 to 6 month emergency fund is mathematically optimal. Holding $70,000 in cash when your fixed expenses are only $5,000 a month means you're sitting on an absurd 14 months of runway. That is a massive opportunity cost. Every single dollar held in cash beyond your optimal safety net is losing to inflation and missing out on critical market growth. So the crucial point is this. Oversaving just $40,000 in a bank account instead of investing it in the market can cost you nearly $100,000 in lost wealth over 20 years. Let that sink in for a second. Yes, keep your safety net strong, draw that line firmly, but whatever you do not let your safety net become a heavy anchor that just drags down your compounding momentum. So we've mapped out the structural reality of the middle-class paycheck. Now you have to look at your own numbers. Are you currently grinding to increase your income below the $70,000 line, or are you in a position to optimize your savings rate above it? Because real financial planning isn't about chasing fantasy returns. It's about understanding the raw mechanics of the money you already make. So I leave you with this question. Which side of the $70,000 fulcrum are you standing on right now? And more importantly, what exact lever are you going to pull tomorrow?